Panguna the Magnificent. How a company that did everything right still got destroyed, and on top of that vilified by the Australian media. In the mid-60s, things started to happen on the small isolated island of Bougainville that would bring unimaginable wealth to the then territory and protectorate of Papua New Guinea. Administration officers on Bougainville had become aware of the likely presence of copper ore deposits located at Panguna in the centre of the island. An Australian mining company, CRA, was invited to investigate the deposits. The result of these investigations was positive. There was a huge amount of low-grade copper. Due to the ore's low quality, the only way a mine would be feasible was if it could be mined on large scale, and the cost of such a mine would be huge. CRA was prepared to carry the cost of setting up this mine, and the administration was supportive because of the immense wealth it would bring to PNG and for the development it would bring to this isolated, partially agricultural island. The island featured a number of plantations located along the island's coastal strip, but almost no roads, medical care, or no non-missionary schools. The mine project was planned and run to the highest standards and arranged to make its environmental footprint on the island tiny, only affecting a few people, a few square kilometres, and only one of the island's dozens of rivers. A few villagers complained against the mine's development in exactly the same way as people all over the world would complain against change and losing their land and houses. The big difference here, they were generously compensated with land, bigger and better permanent houses, and services never before imagined, running water and power. Their previous houses were built of bush materials that required constant maintenance and complete replacement every few years. They also received generous annual payment compensations at a rate specified after negotiation between parties. Similarly affected people all around the world could only dream about such generosity. Whilst active on the island, CRA-BCL, working with the local administration, provided a port, an upgraded airport, a second airport, hundreds of kilometres of roads, thousands of houses and other accommodations, schools, a major public hospital and medical clinics, cheap food infrastructure, cheap power, and pretty well everything else that made the island a good place to live. Bougainville was the richest, best and safest province in the country. They even built a pig farm and egg factory to improve the island's pig population and make cheap fresh eggs available for everyone. Their support enabled a huge government administration building to be created. I suspect any future investors will not be so generous. The mine equipment was jumbo-sized. Haul trucks started from 50-ton capacity, then 105-ton capacity, briefly to 210-ton capacity, before settling to 170 tons capacity. Shovels were electric-powered and huge. Their buckets had a capacity of about 60 tons. Each 5-minute shovel bite and load operation used enough power to power 25 Australian homes for an hour, or 315 houses for the same time. Where would the mine be without explosives? Concentrator and crushing, equipment and buildings. Panguna was the home to many single and married staff. The single staff initially lived in the various camps, Camp 1, Camp 10 and other temporary camps. Later staff transitioned into the Karuna and Karawang accommodation blocks. Wherever the single staff were located, they were fed an excellent balanced diet. Cinemas showed nightly movies and wet messes were available serving alcohol, though I didn't live there so I don't know too much. Post office, church, banks and shops were there too. Sporting facilities included a good-sized swimming pool, tennis court, squash court, a badminton court. There was a cricket club and the town supported a very active Hash House Harriers running and drinking club. Many people lived and worked in Panguna, driving the haul trucks and electric shovels, operating the ore processing plant, or manning the many workshops and stores. They worked in offices, laboratories, design offices, and in the company's training college, probably the best in Papua New Guinea. They also drove buses and transport trucks because everything used in or consumed in Panguna had to come along the challenging Portman access road from the port or coastal towns, mainly Arawa or occasionally Kieta. Those that worked with clean hands, the personnel staff, the mine training staff, clerical lab and media staff, just to name a few. The company supported its workers with very generous work, travel and education packages. Concerned about their mental well-being, they also financially supported a wide range of clubs. Panguna was a place of high rainfall. The town was built around two rivers named Karawong and Karuna. These rivers joined and then flowed into the Java River. The Java River flowed to Empress Augusta Bay and was selected as the dumping ground for the mine's tailings. This was not a good solution, and the construction of a tailings pipeline was in progress when the mine had to be closed after a series of ever-escalating terrorist attacks. In the later years of the project, a drainage system had been created to drain rainwater from the mine's open cast pit. This was a huge task in itself. After completion, it directed the pit's rainwater also into the Java River. The concentrator needed lots of water. For that, there was a pump station on the Java River. If that pump station shut down, fairly soon after the concentrator would also shut down, causing panic at the remote port powerhouse where power generation would have to be rapidly reduced. There was a small emergency power station in Panguna, but only for essentials, not for production. The mine was accessed via the Port Mine Access Road, a civil engineering masterpiece in itself. It cost $1 million 1970s Australian dollars and tragically one life for every kilometre. It started from the port and went 23 kilometres through plains, forests and swamps. Then it climbed up about 1,000 metres, utilising a series of precipitous mountain ranges. In 1988, things started to go wrong. We heard returning Bougainvillian high school students, radicalised by some teacher somewhere, had persuaded their greedy elders that the mine should pay far more to the Bougainville landowners. In fact, they came up with the idea that if the mine was to pay them the total sales of the mine since operations started, about 14 billion AUD, then they would allow the mine to keep operating. This was a ridiculous amount, but nonetheless the mine started to make negotiations with the government and the Nassau landowners to determine if their package could be increased. They were obliged by law to deal with the government first. The Nassau was somewhat racist and hated the idea that wealth generated on their island should benefit the other peoples of Papua New Guinea, who they considered inferior. Sadly, before these negotiations could make any real progress, the villagers quickly lost patience and decided to attack the mine assets. Once started, these terrible actions escalated and eventually led to the mine's closure and the death of thousands of Bougainvillians. Even after the mine closed, the radicalised terrorists continued their attacks on anything associated with the 20th century. Shops, schools, workshops, hotels, even their only hospital was burnt down. The terrorists mainly came from the Nassau tribe, the tribe that had benefited most from the mine's asset creations. Other Bougainville tribes supported the PNG government, so they also suffered terribly from the Nassau tribe's aggression. It was only ever about money. The environmental nonsense was dreamed up by left-wing, anti-mining activists in Australia. Sadly, the Australian media was happy to accept this propaganda, and media coverage ever since has ignored the facts and simply pushed this narrative. It is now about 35 years since the mine's closure and destruction, and the Nassau tribe have had a change of mind. They want the mine to start up again, to give them the wealth to finance their quest for independence from Papua New Guinea. Starting the mine is not like flicking a switch. Almost every mine asset was destroyed. The only thing that is still intact is the hole in the ground. For the mine to restart, a huge investment will be required, probably in the region of $500 million. The people of Bougainville need a partner with deep pockets and specialised mining skills. For their own sakes, let's hope they do not choose the Chinese. This is the last in a series of Bougainville videos. I made it to counter the endless propaganda which has been used against the mine. If you like this and found it informative, check out my other videos. I also have a Bougainville website and book. Please like and subscribe. It helps make my other videos visible to others. Bob Jackson.